I've pulled him out or allowed circumstances to change my mind proves that I really made those decisions out of preference. And some parents don't see that there's any harm in changing schools, but there really is. The child suffers from instability. They tend to get the idea that when things get tough or they don't work out, that I can just go somewhere else. Also, the child can suffer from gaps in his academic abilities. If he's in a school that is teaching one thing, one curriculum, and he moves to a different school, maybe they've already covered that concept, he's completely missed that. And that proves difficult for him to progress in higher education or higher learning levels. We can see from this how very important it is to get a child in the right school from the beginning. So there are choices to be made. The different kinds of schools, we can see there are public, private, and homeschool. And in the public sector, you can choose either a regular public school, a magnet school, or a charter school. In the private sector, you can choose either a private, parochial, or proprietary school. And in homeschool, even there's a variety of the individual family or a group study. We don't want to go through all of these today. That's quite extensive, but we do want to look at the three main choices: public, private, and homeschool. Now, there are many factors to consider when you're deciding what your conviction is. Now, some of those factors are on here, obviously not all of them, but these are some of the things that you want to consider. Cost being one of the main ones. Public school is free. Yes, we pay taxes, and that goes toward helping fund public schools, but unlike private school, or in private school, you've got all of your cost of tuition, books, any extracurricular activities, classroom supplies, all of that has to be figured in. Also, you want to look at availability. What's available in your area? There may not be private schools or homeschool groups in your area. You might have to drive a distance. And what is that distance? What is that gas cost going to be to you? When you're looking at the different schools, you might want to check out their academic rank. Where are their students testing? Looking at programs for special needs. If your child is going to have special needs programs, what does that school have to offer for your child? You may be interested in finding out about their extracurricular activities, the courses that they offer, what are their student-teacher ratios. And now in any form of education, they need to have self-discipline and self-motivation, but it's extremely important to determine as a parent your self-discipline and motivation along with your child's self-discipline and motivation if you're going to consider homeschool. Now, if the cost of school or having to commute a distance can deter you, then private education is probably not a conviction for you. If you're not self-disciplined, stern, yet nurturing, then homeschool is probably not a conviction for you. Now, you may like the idea of having your own schedule, making your own schedule, or being in private education, but if you cannot commit, then don't put your child through the stress of moving from school to school. You want to weigh the pros and the cons of each type of school. Make yourself a list. Of each school, you're going to have different things that are pros and different things that are cons. Even in the public sector, schools will differ from one another. In the private sector, schools will differ from one another. So make yourself a list of the pros and the cons and weigh them. And of all the factors that you face in whatever decision your decision is, make sure that you're 100% committed to seeing your child be a success in that environment. Every town, school, parent, child are all different, their circumstances and their situations, so only you can decide what is best for your child. The choice is yours, but remember it does affect others. Now what I've got here today is I have a handout for you. I'm going to pass this out, and there's a list of websites that you can visit. There's also a list of numbers that you can call to get more information on each type of school. And there are some blog spots that I found on here that are quite interesting, and people have a lot of good testimonies and experience to share and their outcomes. And I encourage you all to do the research and be an informed and involved parent.